Howdy y'all, I'm Brylan. Okay, gloves are coming off. I'm angry, but in like a righteous way. Baylor University professor doubles down on LGB inclusion grant, alleges it's all coming from a far-right media attack. You want to play the double down game? Let's play the double down game. I'll go ahead and double down on my efforts to get Baylor completely shut down. In this video, I'm exposing everything and showing you how this goes much deeper than what you could ever imagine. Real quick, would you consider hitting that thumbs up button? You know when you like this video, it'll get pushed out to more people, and it would really help spread the truth. If you're unfamiliar, Baylor University received over $500,000 to foster LGB inclusion in churches and in their campus. Now, this wasn't like a donation they were randomly given and like asked to put it towards LGB. This was a grant fully knowing that it was 100% going to go towards basically indoctrinating their students with LGB. In fact, I did a video on this. The video is now called It's Over, and I had to blur out the screenshots. As soon as I posted this video, it was immediately hit. In fact, I had to blur out the thumbnail, change the title. Yeah, they really don't like me talking about this. In fact, the mainstream media wasn't even covering this story until Baylor decided to return the grant money. But hold on, because I'm going to show you later in the video how this is a massive lie by Baylor. I love Ground News because they show you how the left and the right are spinning the news. Look at this. The left is saying Baylor University wins, then rejects grant on LGB inclusion in churches, and how it's all because of an online campaign of fear and misinformation. And the right is saying Christian University rejects massive grant meant to turn churches gay. I also love how Ground News shows you just how biased each mainstream media outlet really is. Their blind spot feature shows you when the left or the right isn't covering the news that you should know about. You can also see who owns each news outlet. If you go to ground.news/Brylan or scan the QR code on the screen, you can get 40% off the same Vantage plan that I personally use. Thank you for supporting the sponsor of this video, Ground News. It helps me to continue to bring you daily news videos that you can trust. Now, who is this professor that's doubling down on this LGB inclusion at Baylor University? Well, his name is Garrett. This is a professor at Baylor University. You can see his pinned post on X is a BLM is a theological statement post. That's how far he takes it. This dude is extremely woke. He just literally everything that is woke, he accepts. It is his ideology. It is his theology. It is his beliefs to spread the death and destruction of woke. But he posted this on his X account. When the far right media comes for me, my colleagues, or Baylor, I can only say I serve the Jesus who said, if you've loved the least of these, you've loved me. Grateful for this grant that will help us love better. So here he is bashing anybody that called out Baylor for being the snake that it is. And it's just all a far right attack. Again, this is the exact language that the radical woke left uses. In fact, he even attacks Eric Metaxas for sticking up for Dietrich Bonhoeffer. This dude is a Looney Tune. Now, with this dude spreading the LGB indoctrination within Baylor University, I don't know how you get around the fact that Baylor University's own statement on human sexuality is that the university affirms biblical understanding of sexuality as a gift from God, purity and singleness and fidelity in marriage between man and woman as a biblical norm. Temptations to deviate from the norm include both hetero and homo behavior. Their own statement of belief contradicts what this woke professor is indoctrinating these students with, yet universities like this have become so cowardly that they will not stick up for the truth, for the gospel, for Christ, because they are too afraid, and it might hurt their bottom line because they won't continue to get these $500,000 grants to institute LGB and all the things in their school and in churches. Baylor University is run by cowards. Here's a little taste of Garrett, again, a professor at Baylor University.
Because I'm Episcopalian, I don't like to interrupt liturgy. Liturgy is holy. It works when it's together. We have a song that is 200 years old, which will be our opening hymn. I am well aware that the title, Brethren, We Have Met to Worship, is sexist. So please know that I am not trying to say, hey, let's have a conference about racism and diminish women. I have edited it.
Again, this is the type of people that are teaching young minds at universities, even Christian universities. Now, this is a clip of Garrett talking about someone named James Baldwin, an LGBT activist during the civil rights movement.
And although he was often excluded and pushed to the side because he was gay, Baldwin left the organized church as a teenager. And I did the same. It was the policy, and my dean will remember this. Every Baylor faculty person was supposed to be a member of a church in order to get tenure. And so I was a member of a church. But like Baldwin, I fled from my tradition, which was Southern Baptist.
So keep in mind that he fled from the church in order to get tenure at Baylor University. He just pretended to be a part of a church again. These are the kind of people Baylor University are hiring. Well, as Garrett mentioned before, that he is part of the Episcopalian Church. In fact, he says here, I am proud of my church. Here's the Episcopal Church, an absolute disgusting apostate. It's not even a church, by the way. But on the front page of their website, you scroll down and immediately you're punched in the face with Pied resources. In fact, during LGB Indoctrination Month, Pied Month, they have a Pied Eucharist that they do. Can you believe that? Literally gathering inside of their cultish temples, pretending to be a church of God, a Christian church, and doing a Eucharist in the name of LGB. Also on their Instagram page, no surprise. I mean, they have their, for decades, LGB Episcopalians, blah, blah, blah. This June, we joyfully celebrate the beautiful diversity of God's creation and honor LGB. So yeah, you get it, right? Keep in mind though, after Baylor was called out for accepting this grant and being a wolf, being a snake, being the cowards that they are, They can't even stand up and accept the fact that they're getting pushback for accepting an LGB grant. And they've even backpedaled on that. Look at this. Baylor is committed to providing a caring community and to academic freedom as a Christian research university. But our policies also remain unchanged, which is why the university has elected to return the recent grant. Oh, you're thinking, awesome, we won, fantastic. They reversed course. They're not cowards anymore. Well, no, they are still cowards because they still hire woke professors to indoctrinate people in the name of Christ. Also, the Ball family put out a statement after they returned the grant. So look at this. They say that this isn't the first time. This has happened before. They have done this with Baylor University before. So this isn't Baylor University getting caught in a one-time thing and then going, oh, sorry, we return it. We understand. We're going to stand on biblical principles. No, they have done this before. They just didn't get caught. The Ball family is a family that is steeped in LGBT indoctrination and everything's racist, that kind of thing. And their family and board of trustees have deep roots at Baylor. Okay? They can pull a lot of strings there. They have a lot of power at Baylor. And of course, they make it sound like this was an opportunity to answer the Christian call to care for the marginalized by creating resources to provide accepting LGB and all the things. Don't fall for this. All this is code speak for nothing less than acceptance being allowed. Of course, you're going to feel at odds when you are living in a way the Bible deems antithetical to God. And this goes for all sin, by the way. The solution is not to then accept sin so the conscience can be seared enough to not feel conviction. Also, this is Garrett 36 weeks ago. Quite a while ago, wearing a Justice Takes Sides shirt. This is him saying that today, I'm expending the last of the generous grant Baylor University received. Again, this has all happened before. by the Ball family foundation to study and combat racism and white supremacy, of course. And look, he says, Baylor and I are forever changed because of it. Don't let the fact that Baylor University has returned this grant money, it's just a virtue signal to try to save face because they got caught. They are still doing things behind the scenes and they won't stop. In fact, you have their own professors doubling down on it. So don't forget that. Romans 1:18 talks about these kind of people, that God has given them over to all kinds of depravity. In fact, their minds have become debased, which means they just don't work right. They are unfit. And in verse 18, Romans chapter 1, it says, for the wrath of God is revealed from heaven against all ungodliness and unrighteousness of men, who by their unrighteousness suppress the truth. But hey, let me know your thoughts about all this in the comment section. I would love to hear from you. And if you wouldn't mind hitting that subscribe button, join this community. I would love to hear from you on a regular basis. And please hit that thumbs up button. You know, when you like this video, it'll get pushed out to more people and it would really help spread the truth. All right, I'll see you in the next video. Bye.